Hello friends, welcome back to PioneerDreamers.com. We are coming to you today from the lair, from the international headquarters from Pioneer Dreams, and we're so thrilled to have you. You know that every month we kind of pick a conversation topic, a starter place, and we kind of build around that. And I'm excited that this month the topic is on the value of being wrong. And I'm excited about it because whenever I write something for this, for PioneerDreamers.com, or we have guest writers, people are more or less bringing their opinion about something or their experience about something. But in this case, on the value of being wrong, that's a place where I have some expertise. I have been wrong a lot. I have been wrong about the facts, about sciencey facts, about legal facts, historic facts. I've been wrong about the things that I thought I believed, and even though they didn't stop me from arguing and trying to convert other people in the process. I've been wrong about song lyrics more than once. And so for the record, I want to let you know that it is Bruce that you should fear letting you down, and not Bruce. Look it up. It will rock your world. I have been wrong maybe more than I have been right. And so I'm sure my friends and family and relatives can probably verify that for you. So in all that experience of being wrong, I've made this discovery. Being wrong can be a beautiful thing. When I was a kid, I wanted to interpret the Bible very literally. God made the whole world in 6 days. He rested on the seventh because it wasn't Easter or Christmas, and those are big church services where everybody comes to visit, and that's the end of it. The problem was that 6 days didn't give enough time for dinosaurs or a lot of other big events. And so I felt very threatened by all things prehistoric. It became easy to write off scientists or archaeologists because despite all the abundant evidence, it didn't line up with what I wanted to believe. And so then it occurred to me one day as I was looking at something, dinosaurs did exist. And if they did exist, they were not a surprise to God, or something that he was trying to cover over because it did not make sense in his narrative. So if dinosaurs were not a problem for God, then they shouldn't be a problem for me. So in the end, I needed to let God be who he is and not who I believed him to be, not who I wanted him to be. So I was wrong. And as a result, a whole world of discovery opened up for me. Not only could I join the 20th century by way of facts and reality, I could not allow fear to stunt my image of who God is and what he can do. And that from that moment on, the world got much, much bigger for me. So that's the power of being wrong. It's not about abandoning conviction, per se. It's about searching for the truth fearlessly and seeing where it actually is. So unfortunately, as a culture, especially in America, we hate being wrong. We associate being wrong with weakness or retreat, or worst yet, we associate being wrong with letting the other side win. And because we put so much emphasis on what we believe, we're easily threatened by being wrong or by shades of gray in our little black and white world. So in the end, we stop looking for truth and we just look for supporting evidence for what we already believe. And that is an incredibly dangerous place to live. So we give up on truth and we give in to blind dogma. And there is no adventure or creativity or passion in blind dogma. There's only fear. So for centuries, we believed that the world was flat, and that if you got in a boat and you put in an 8-track of Styx and listened to Come Sail Away and just let the wind blow, eventually it would blow you off the edge of the world. And we believed all that so concretely up until just a couple hundred years ago that we would kill anybody, or at least vote them off our island, if they disagreed with us. And that is the power of that fear. Fear kept us from considering something else. Fear kept us from looking at the evidence. Fear made us sweep the truth under the rug and look the other way. The problem is we were wrong. The world was round. And suddenly this thing that we had all sewn up and clean in a nice package spilt over into something much, much bigger than what we had known. It was a brand new adventure. The universe was suddenly much larger and much more magnificent than we had known before that. So I come from a Christian tradition. And so talk about dogmas, we've had a few. The scriptures, the ancient scriptures, say that what you look for is what you find. So if you look for good, you find good. If you are looking for the truth, you look for truth. But if you're only seeking supporting evidence for your case, then that's what you'll find too, even if it means turning your back on truth. So if you're bent that your boss is evil or the devil and is set on destroying you and destroying your life, you will find never-ending evidence to support that argument. If you believe that you have a sibling or a spouse who is wrong and you're in a feud with them, you will find eventually never-ending evidence that they are wrong and you are right, because you are looking for supporting evidence. If you hold to conspiracies and political plots and doctrines with fearfully clenched fist, you will only let in the things that support that argument. Every news story, every social media post, every celebrity quote will only reinforce that the thems are bent on destroying our country. So science will become an enemy because the Democrats are using it to destroy oil companies, and Jesus will become an enemy because the Republicans have armed him with an assault rifle stamped with a Confederate flag on it. And fried food will become an enemy because actually that's saturated fat, so that really is wrong. That doesn't really help us here. But the point is, we become silly when we become singular. When we take an all or nothing approach to a candidate or a political party or even a religion, and we refuse to ask questions or to consider other viewpoints, we become idiots. But here's the real challenge, the really difficult part, I think. The pursuit of truth begins with humility. It begins with saying, you may not know all the facts, or your side might not be completely right. The truth begins with questions instead of pre-filled in answers. Humility is key. Admitting that you don't know everything and all the answers is part of where this conversation starts. In humility, we can say, what is the truth, without rushing to supply the answer in the meantime. In humility, we can be released of our preconceived notions in the hopes of actually seeing what is reality, what is truth. The result is finding that the world and the divine are much richer and bigger than the little things we have made them. It takes courage to be humble. You have to be brave enough to unclench your fist and sift through the facts and find the truth, even if it disagrees with your stance or your party stance or your family stance. You have to be brave enough to acknowledge that your side may be wrong, and for that matter, that the truth is more important than your side. What are we in this for if we're not looking for the truth? If we're only trying to bolster a point of view or a side that may actually be wrong? The truth is infuriating because it takes effort to find it. Then, just when you think you have it wrapped up, you discover that it's bigger than you thought, and you have to kind of expand with it and go where it goes, and be open or humble in your heart to see and ask yourself honest questions. So there is no adventure in dogma. When we stop humbling ourselves and looking for truth, we become the ones denying that the earth is round and willing to kill those we disagree with. Those people live in a very small world because they can only go as far as the imaginary kraken will let them, sitting in the ocean, waiting for them at the edge of the sea. They will fall for anything because they will believe everything their side says to. Let's not be those people. Don't fear the questions. Your politician, your party, your God should be big enough to handle the questions. Politicians and policies are not perfect. It is not on you, it is not on me to defend them like my salvation depends on it. Truth and freedom are more important. Look, we can't rely on leaders to make these kinds of changes for us. We have to do it. But if we choose to be more intelligent, if we choose to ask questions, if we choose to not be so fearful, if we choose to not be so suspicious of each other, then change can happen, and that's important. But we have to quit fearing being wrong. We have to quit fearing asking the questions, and we have to quit fearing looking for the truth, regardless of where it takes us. So that's it. Maybe you've been wrong like I've been wrong a lot, and so we have to ask ourselves this other question. If we have been wrong, if you can raise your hand now and say, yes, I have been wrong like you. Put your hand to the screen and tell me you've been wrong. Well, if that's the case, then maybe we should get out of each other's faces so much and trying to convince people of our truth when we haven't sought it ourselves, when we've only been repeating the stuff that somebody else has told us, when we haven't been calm and quiet enough to look for the truth. So let's get out of each other's faces for a little while. Let's humble ourselves. Let's ask the hard questions and not be afraid. And I think in the end, we will all be better for it. Until next month, I wish you all the best. Peace from the Pioneer Dream Lair and from pioneerdreamers.com. Feel free to add to this conversation. There are places that you can put comments down below. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about the things that you discovered you were wrong about, and it ended up becoming a place of liberty or freedom for you, a place that opened up a world for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in this whole process. The conversation is better when you're involved. So anyway, we love you from Pioneer Dream. Peace out.